Hello, good evening. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and thank you for your support. Thank you for all you do for us. We really wanted to double down, maybe 2.0, 3.0, about what happened in Akwa Ibom with the Akwa Ibom airline and then the lady. Now that more facts are coming out, as the investigation is ongoing, we wanted to come back, revisit it, and see what what the new evidence or the new angles to the case is becoming. And then maybe during the course of the discussion, we'll probably link it back to and see how the system is treating the lady as to how they are treating, how they treated Kwan. Yeah, so that was what we'll be doing. We now have more angles to the case, and then a lot of people on that flight is speaking out. According to some of them, they are saying that the air hostess triggered the lady. So what do you think?
Yes, it's good that the other passengers on that flight are starting to speak up and they're starting to share what happened inside the aircraft. We still don't have a full picture of everything that happened. I don't think there's a camera inside the aircraft that records everyone in the flight. So I think it's good that the passengers are coming out. However, I don't think it's going to change a lot of people's opinion about the young lady that has now been put in prison or put in jail for causing disturbance in the aircraft. So I don't think it's going to change a lot of people's opinion. A lot of people they've already made up their mind. I have already made up my mind that the lady didn't act right. Even though we didn't get a full picture of everything that happened inside the aircraft, we were able to see everything that happened outside of the aircraft. And everything that happened outside of the aircraft is not looking really good for that lady. Everything that happened outside the aircraft, a lot of people made up their mind saying, hey, the lady acted rude. And it looks like she's got a lot of anger issues. You can see from how she was bonded out of the aircraft into the bus. She was still fighting, even while on the bus. She was still fighting, and before she was able to calm down, knew she was probably going to be going to jail or going to prison for a minute. So, yeah, acting right would have definitely fixed this issue. Again, the airline staff, they didn't really handle the situation very well. Again, we don't really know everything that happened inside that aircraft. Maybe as more passengers begin to speak up, as more passengers come out, maybe that will change people's mind about this situation. But the fact still remains that the lady acted inappropriately. The airline staff also acted inappropriately. So we're yet to see what kind of penalty the airline is going to dish out to their staff. We already seen all sorts of penalty that's being dished out against this lady. They've already banned for life, and the Nigerian Bar Association have come out and pledging to support her, pledging to advocate for her in the court of law. That's also a good thing. And maybe they'll be able to get more information from the staff of the airline and some of the passengers that were in there. I've never been to Nigerian court. I don't know how it works. I don't think they have a jury system like we do here in the US, where the case will be decided by a jury of your peers. And all the judge will do is to come out and either work on sentencing or have the defense and the plaintiff come up with sentencing, and then he or she will read the judgment. So I know it looks like the buck stops with the judge in Nigerian court. So the judge is the jury. The judge gets to make that decision. So it's going to be dicey unless the attorneys, in this case, defense attorney, are able to put up a good defense. Maybe that will help them out. As we all know, the ISB there usually wins in the court. So maybe the airline will win the court. Maybe the NCAA, maybe the government or the airline team will win the court. It is yet to be seen. But right now, with everything that happened outside the aircraft, it's not really looking good for her.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. With everything we are able to see from the outside, it does look like it's not looking good for her. But throughout today, I was also thinking about another angle to that case. We are meant to believe that, according to them, they are saying that the issue started in Akwa Ibom when a fellow passenger collected her phone or maybe seized it because she refused to power down her phone or put it on airplane mode. So we don't know if the phone was on airplane mode, but I think a fellow passenger grabbed the phone from her because she refused to power the phone down. So my question is, if they were already having problem with the said passenger in Akwa, why did they take her on that flight? I think they were lucky because she waited until they get to Lagos before she started acting out. So what if she has started acting out mid-air? So how would they have handled that situation? So if they were already having issue with this lady from Akwa Ibom before takeoff, why not just drop her and tell her to join another flight? I think that would have been the best solution on how to handle that situation. Probably they didn't think it through, but if they did not think it through, they did not think to that direction, then there is something fundamentally wrong with that airline because it will actually be an indictment and it shows that there is no training going on. They are not training their staff. Because if you already having problem with this said passenger and there's no parking lot in the air, there is nowhere you can park in the air. Let's say there's issue, you start having issue with this passenger again in mid-air, there's nowhere to park. You just have to deal with that situation. So why did they take her if they were already having issue with her? And what did the air hostess tell the fellow passenger that was trying to enforce a rule that was not in his purview to enforce? Because ordinarily, if somebody else come to me and grab my phone, I would be mad as well. Whatever the lady did, I'll probably do the same thing if somebody come walk up to me on my seat and just grab my phone and walk away. Yeah, I'll be mad too. So I think they should look at that angle too and see how the the air hostesses and then the crew, well, the entire crew, how they handle that situation and how they settle that issue. Probably they were unable to settle it. They couldn't maybe reach a decisive settlement or settle it to her satisfaction. And that is why she was still boiling. I don't know if they are listening, if the air hostesses are listening or the cabin crew members are listening. But I think next time, if you have a situation where a fellow passenger is trying to enforce your rule, basically take over your job and do your job, I think they need to step in and tell that fellow passenger that it's not in their place to enforce any rule. Because I think that is the genesis of this whole situation.
Yes, I agree with you, and I do disagree with you on maybe kicking out of the aircraft. Typically, when you're flying, when the pilots they've completed the pre-departure checklist, and then the aircraft are usually sealed off before they taxi to the runway and then take off. And I don't think they'll ask you to turn up your phone or switch to airplane mode until the aircraft has been sealed off, and then they're getting ready to taxi to the runway. At that point, it would have been too late to kick out off the aircraft. So yeah, maybe the best option at that point was to just grab the device from her and do it for her if she doesn't know how to do it, and then try to enlighten her when they get off the aircraft. They won't tell you to turn off your airplane mode as you're boarding. Once the boarding is completed and the pilots complete their pre-departure checklist, as they start to taxi to the runway, they'll tell you, hey, we're starting to move now. Make sure your phones are in airplane mode. So at that point, it would have been too late for them to kick out of the airplane. As we know, airline is a time-sensitive business. When an aircraft is sitting on the ground, it's losing money. Their goal is to be able to use that aircraft to hit multiple cities, multiple spots, in order for them to continue to make money. So they wouldn't have dropped that. They wouldn't have, have somebody come out and do all the checklist and then kick out of the aircraft. That would have been too much. If, like you said, if it had happened when they were already 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet in the air, all they could have done was to just maybe restrain her to a seat or put an handcuff on her right there to kind of control her actions, to kind of control her movement until they're able to get to where there's a security that will take her off their hands. So again, everyone could have acted appropriately, and this issue wouldn't have happened. Yeah, if it were to be in the U.S., I'm sure the lady and some attorneys would have been reaching out to her because they know it's going to be a payday. A payday is going to be coming, and they'll be reaching out to her, working out a deal with her to go to the court. So Maybe the airline will settle with her. Maybe the FAA will work something out. At this point, looks like she's still going to be getting the shorter of the sticks unless she has good attorneys, good lawyers that can advocate.
Yeah, definitely. But let me circle back a little bit. I think there is something they said. I think they said that they used to say that a relationship that did not work out is better than broken marriage. Basically, if you are dating somebody and getting close to getting married and you guys break up, a lot of people actually prefer it to like be married and you guys break up. So what I'm trying to say is that it would have been the best option, or it would have been best for them to like have a delay in Akwa Ibom trying to get out of the plane than having that issue in Lagos, because you can't tell me that that airplane was able to, to make another trip that day. There is no way that airplane is able to make another trip, because everybody on board will be busy, maybe writing report. I'm just judging based on, our environment. Everybody on that plane, the air hostesses, the pilot, everybody will be writing what they see or what they saw. So there is no way you can tell me that plane made another trip that's in there. It did not. They probably grounded that airplane uh, based, waiting, pending investigation to investigate what happened. Maybe they want to look at the inside the airplane, maybe listen to the black box, listen to all the communications inside the airplane. So there is no way. I'm even sure that even till today, that airplane hasn't left their airport. So wouldn't it have been better for them to have that delay, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours delay in Akwa Ibom, than walking into what they walked into? So a lot of times, being behind time does not necessarily mean that you will not get to your destination. But for me, I would have preferred that they deal with that situation in Akwa Ibom, maybe get out of the flight, even go as far as giving her more money, take another 500,000, take 200,000, use it to get another plane, or maybe they put her on another plane of theirs. By that time she will have enough time to calm down and then just take another plane to Lagos. But it's just that people that were involved did not really take time to think out the whole situation. And this is almost applicable to life. Sometimes you just think that, let me just do this thing and get it over with. But a lot of time you end up spending like hours, days, months on that same thing. Versus if you had, taken your time to listen, maybe to listen to your gods or listen to your conscience and just do it, maybe not just do that. But I think there is definitely a better way to handle situations like this. A lot of this boils down to training. It looks like those people lack training. The people that handle that lady, they definitely lack training. If they don't fire them, they need a retraining. They need like several hours of training. The air hostesses, they need several hours of training. Everybody involved need several hours of training. I think this company should be investing, a good chunk of their money in training and development, training their staff, and that's the only way. Because the only luck they have is that those companies are not operating in America. If they are operating in America, according to you, that old lady, in fact, even her whole family would have been retiring from their job. It would be a payday, for a big payday. Big attorneys will be reaching out and cutting deals, maybe 50, maybe 30, 30, 70. So I think the airline is lucky, but I think for them to avoid situations like this, not just Akwa Ibom Airline, most of those airlines in general, they need to invest more in training and development.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Training is important. But I also think you're overthinking it because I'm sure that aircraft is probably not the only aircraft
In their
in
fleet.
their company. So they have multiple aircraft in their fleets. Thank you. So maybe they would have called in another crew to come in and take the aircraft to the next stopover or to the next destination. Unless there is a significant damage to that aircraft that would have caused a safety issue for the plane not to fly, I believe that will be the only reason that the flight will remain on the ground. Because if it's on the ground, it's useless to everybody, it's useless to the company. And I don't know what kind of investigation they're trying to do with the aircraft. But I would think that, if those crew are going to go out and they're calling other crew members, and they'll take that aircraft to its next destination. So yeah, I would think that they have multiple crews that they can reach out to. And, in order not to overwork their crew members, I'm sure they have schedules that they go by. We don't have access to their operational manuals or their operation plans, but I can tell you the plane probably left that same day, unless there's significant damage to it that would have made it not airworthy, that would have made it not fly. I would believe that aircraft would have left the same day. As we all know, it's all about money, right? The company wants to make money. If it's on the ground, it's not making any money on the ground. They want it to be in the air. They want people to pay for it, pay for their service, and that's how they make money.
Yeah, I will not even, you saying that you believe, or you almost believing that that aircraft left Lagos that same day. I don't have any reason to argue, because Nigeria, anything is possible. In fact, Nigeria is a place where somebody will be seeing white and tell you is black, and whether you like it or not, he believes it's black. So if you're telling me that you believe that that plane left Lagos that night, I don't have any reason to argue, because a lot of things, there's just so few things that are not possible in Nigeria. So I agree with you, but I think they need to do better. I think um, you know, like I said, training. They should invest in training, because the only luck they have is that is a local flight. And I can't even imagine all those like international air hostesses acting out that way. They wouldn't even act that way. Why? The air hostess was almost fighting with that lady. I honestly do not know why. And I can't even imagine like a Delta airline air hostess acting that way, because those people, they employ the 1% of the 1%. It will be a lot easier for you to get admission to Ivy League than to be hired to work as an air hostess for Delta or for any major carrier for that matter. So maybe they need to look into the hiring process. Maybe they should stop hiring their friends, their cronies, their families, and then maybe also stop hiring for cheap labor. They need to make sure that they are hiring the best of the best and bringing the best of the best on board. Otherwise, if they keep hiring cheap labor, keep hiring family and friends, it will keep costing them money. At the end of the day, you will spend more money that you would have spent if you have hired somebody that is quite competent. So airlines, businesses in Nigeria specifically, spend a lot of money on training and development of your staff, and it will pay off, and you will reap the benefit. The benefit will be that your employees will not be costing you issues like this.
So one thing I'd want to add is that I agree that the airline staff didn't handle it properly. If it was in a sane environment, what would have happened is as soon as that flight landed, everybody would remain in their seat. If that lady truly caused a problem on the aircraft, everybody would have been told to remain in their seat, not to get up. And then the first person that is going to come in or go out when the aircraft is cleared to be opened up will be airport security, will be police officers. They'll come in into the aircraft, grab that unruly passenger, and take him or her away. That way, passengers can exit the airplane. But in this situation, it looks like they let all the passengers exit before the police officers came or before the security guys came. I think a way for them to have handled it better will be to tell everybody to remain in their seat, and the police officers will come in, grab the unruly passengers, leave, and other passengers can get out of the aircraft. And just like you've talked about, training is important. Hopefully, Ibom Air, other airline in the country will, look back at this incident and will use it as a learning opportunity for their people to be better prepared in case there's an issue like this in the future.
Yeah, definitely. It will pay off. Training will pay off. And maybe if they don't have one by now, maybe they need to have SOP. If something like this is happening, what are we supposed to do? They need to have that SOP. And then, well, I don't know why I'm consulting for you. You are not paying me. So thank you guys. And we'll see you on the other side. If you want consultation, you can pay for it, and we'll advise you properly. So thank you and have a good night.